We are live. Forgive the delay, Matt. I'm also currently at my parents' house in DC. I came up here for Crypto Week. It's been exciting times in the space, but yeah, this is not the typical background and all that stuff that I usually have. I got nice floral patterns in the back. Thanks, Mom, for that. But hey, so Matt, pleasure to finally meet you in I guess kind of in person.
Sure. You could say that, I guess. Um, yeah, pleasure to meet you as well. You've been a I feel like you kind of popped up on Farcaster just randomly out of nowhere and just became like a character there kind of overnight.
It's been really weird, to be honest. Not that it's a bad thing at all. It's just a thing. I had no idea what I was getting involved with. I started in I think I got on in April. It's now July, so yeah, it's been crazy to see. And then also trying to learn and put the pieces together along the way of like, what's the lore? And it's been really cool to hear and just people be so inviting and welcoming and positive, especially you. Shout out to you. I think you gave the invite code for the Startup Radar account. So like
Oh yeah.
huge for me. But yeah, no, thank you. It has definitely been cool. But yeah, I've been obviously like just trying to learn and absorb as much as possible. But I think one of the things that was stand out to me was your affinity for music and what you're trying to do and what you are doing. It's not even trying; it's you are doing it. I would love to learn more and see what like the long term vision is for it, and yeah, it's like whatever you're willing and want to share of like just a high level.
Yeah. Yeah, so I have this what is now a Far was currently a Farcaster mini app called Tortoise. It is basically a music platform for Farcaster is kind of the easiest way to think about it. And that's important for a lot of reasons. But I think just kind of the most basic way I could explain what I'm doing is that I really believe in Farcaster. I think it has grown a lot since I've been on the platform. I think it's gonna continue growing a lot, and um, if it keeps growing, there should probably be a music platform on it, and I'm building it.
There you go. So what are some of the things that I guess we could start by just saying like what have been some of the difficulties of like what you've been building so far with Tortoise? What are some of the nuances that separate you from like a Spotify or any other competition that's out there and that are trying to like target that market of music in the Web3 blockchain space?
Yeah, I mean the most challenging thing probably is that I'm building a music app, which nobody like making money with music is kind of since the dawn of the internet has been maybe the hardest business that anyone could set out to try to do. It's like if you want to make money, it's just probably the worst decision you could ever make is to start a music company. Um, so that's the hardest thing. Um, Separates us from Spotify. I mean, so
Did I say Spotify? Did I actually say that?
yeah, you did.
Man, I mean, like,
Nothing wrong with
I'm
that.
not trying. No, well, I mean, I think, look, like, no one's gonna just be like, oh yeah, how am I gonna like beat Spotify? That's not how I wanted to set that up. It was more so of like, there are streaming platforms. This is how they operate. What is like the differentiator between like Tortoise and that? Not that you're trying to like take over Spot. I'm not trying to
Hmm.
set you up like that, but more so of like, what is it that is well, if I'm your end user, if I'm your target audience, right? Like, what's going to make me go to Tortoise over, competition that's already out there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad question to say. The, I think it's pretty clear to anyone in the music industry, and unless you work for a major label or you're an investor in one of these companies, it's very clear to everyone that the streaming model has totally failed. Like, the musicians do, like, musicians just universally hate streaming platforms, um, because you don't make money from it. And so it it's been kind of a weird thing, because I remember about 10 years ago or so, everybody loved the streaming platforms because it was the solution to pirating, right? Like Napster and Pirate Bay or whatever, LimeWire. And
Kazaa for the real OGs that are out there. If you remember Kazaa.
oh, I don't, sorry.
Yeah, no. So I'm a dinosaur. Yeah, Napster and Kazaa and LimeWire were like the
Okay.
three big ones right off the bat. But yeah, sorry to cut you.
No, it's all good. I mean, I actually did use LimeWire. My older brother showed me how to do it. So, yeah. Uh,
But yeah, so the it kind of separate. Well, streaming was the solution for just absolutely free ripping off, not only the musicians but also the labels. And when the labels get mad, and when those music groups get mad, they're like, okay, like now we need a real alternative here. So
yeah, right. And so yeah, and so everybody loved streaming services when they came around, because it was like, okay, finally we have something that is going to actually let people get all the music they want, and we're going to get paid. Um, but it's turned out to not be not be good for musicians. I mean, probably better than pirating was, but not much, because it's just the the demand for music is so high, and like the willingness to pay for it is so low. So, and I think I don't know. I thought a lot about. It's kind of interesting because this model actually has worked for like television and movies with Netflix, and it's worked for books with Kindle. Um, but it hasn't worked for music, which I think is just kind of really interesting. And I think the reason for that is because music is so social, and like if everybody doesn't have access to a song, the song isn't valuable. So, and which isn't the case for like a TV show. Like you can just watch your show, and maybe a few friends also watch the show, but like the whole world doesn't need access to the show. But with a song, the whole world needs access to it, or that song is meaningless. Not meaningless, but it's just not as valuable as it could be. Um, and if you think of like a radio hit as maybe a good example of how it's like this, I don't know, uh, thing that just has this widespread appeal that needs to be distributed as widely as possible. So the the streaming thing has failed for music, and I think the solution is to make access to it free. Like we have crossed the chasm. Music is water now. We're never going back. You're not going to make money from charging people to access your music, and we have to find other ways to monetize it. I think a good way to monetize it is through association. So you have two like good examples of this right now, which are vinyl records and merchandise. So vinyl records are pretty popular right now. They're increasingly popular over the last decade or so. And that's not because people buy the vinyls so that they can listen to the music. It's so that they can put it in their living room, and it starts a conversation. It shows people your personality and whatnot. And the same with merch, right? It's a social proof. And merch is actually a really good example, because like bands who are very very early, or artists, are like, even before they can sell tickets to their shows, they're making money from merch. That's like the first way musicians make money. And it's because that social proof, that association with the music, is kind of one of the most valuable things that music provides. And so I'm kind of trying to give that social proof in the digital realm, or on the internet. I don't know why I said digital realm, but
No, no, no. Well, I mean, it's the digital realm. It's so funny. One of the things that I think stands out from what you were saying, I just had Rachel from The Good News Is on the podcast earlier this week. And, um, by the way, I'm echoing right now. Are you echoing on your end as well? Hold
yeah.
on. All right. We need to do this. Hold on one
Wait,
sec.
I can turn on. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have to pause. Let me pause this real quick. I'm going to stop it. Back. Okay. So what I was saying though is, I just had Rachel on the show, and one thing that I think we're seeing a massive shift, um, is that like my generation. I'm a millennial. I'm 33 years old. He's around my age, maybe a little bit older. And so one thing that we aligned on was just like social component of like living is far different for our generation compared to Gen Z and younger. And well, we used to have, or while we still have like dinner parties, things that are like more in person, that has shifted drastically where things are on like whether it's on chain, online, whatever, the way that you express yourself is very much in that space, the digital realm. And like for me, the things that you're bringing up, um, that resonate is like, yeah, when you go to a buddy's house and you see all of the vinyl or, I mean, my buddies, like when I lived in LA, like people still had CDs and we still had CD players and like we would go through. That's our way of going through. Like it's not to keep bringing up Spotify, but it's like, me personally, I don't go through the profiles. I think the like social component of Spotify is clunky and it's just not really friendly. Whereas like if I'm going through music, I'm doing it for myself at this point and I just want my music and I'm done. But I think the one thing that they have failed on is like the interaction. They've tried it with like, oh, what are they listening to right now at this moment? But there's not like an attachment or like I don't know. The social component within it is just kind of broken. And I think where you are kind of, filling that gap and finding a solution for it is taking the social component at Tortoise and making it so that it's a little bit more interactive. And also not to mention like, I think the one thing that's cool about it right now, I don't know how much longer it's going to stay this way, especially as you look to scale and grow, but like, it's pretty cool to see the people that you're interacting with on Farcaster put out their music. I think that's one of the funny, like Zach Harris, shout out to Zach, shout out to like, I think it's Trissil, like, I don't even know how to pronounce it, but those two put out music all the time on your platform. And I'm looking through it, I'm listening to it. And I'm like, oh shit, like these guys are actually pretty good at making music. So I think that's like a really cool element of it as well. Again, I don't know how long that lasts if you're going to continue to scale and grow this thing, but I do love the like social component that you've tried to capture.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think that'll last. I, I intend to make it usable for people outside of Farcaster, but I don't intend to, um, I intend to keep that completely. Like I think the like a decentralized social media protocol is a necessary part of like I don't know if there's a world where it exists without that. Maybe Farcaster ends up not being the one that is widely adopted and it's a different one. And maybe Tortoise moves so maybe there's a world where like some like mass like Tortoise moves onto Mastodon or maybe um maybe you can use it on both. I don't know. But I like having a like underlying social pro because the vinyl is not valuable if you don't have a living room to put it in. So the the social protocol is or I guess more like your social profile is like the living room.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm curious though, like for your background, are you um were you more of a music background? Were you more of a just and like computer science background? Was it a mix of both? Tell me a little bit about your story.
It's a mix, but more music. I've been a musician my whole life. I'm from New Orleans originally. Yeah, like so I, like after school, I mean, I got a music industry degree for undergrad, and was a live sound engineer for a few years after that. And basically, I decided I want to continue doing live sound engineering because I met the middle aged sound engineers, and they're all very kind of grumpy and jaded, and
They'll tell you great stories though. They'll tell
yeah,
you great stories of who was in the studio with them, but they weren't the musician. They were in the background, like, mixing for them.
yeah, and I can't. It's a very it's a tough job.
It's super hard, especially like if you're talking to the middle aged and older guys that were sound engineers, like talking about like 60s, 70s, their job was so hard. Like what they did compared to today, everything's so like, I mean, the technology's just advanced so much that it makes it a little bit easier on them. But like, yeah, those guys had to get super creative, like had to shut up the whole room. I was listening to, I think just one of those random clips on X, but one of the sound engineers was talking about producing, um, one of the Nirvana songs, like, something's in the way, or I forget, but like how to like capture like what Kurt Cobain was trying to put on the record, and they were just struggling for hours. And then finally he's like, oh, it's got to sound like this. And he was laying down, like talking about, how he wanted it to sound. And the guys like clear the room and bringing the mics in and having it, you know what I mean? So
mhm.
yeah, it's a creative job in a way, but like having to direct that is really complicated. Anyway, that's such a side rant, but anyway, sorry to cut you.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, no, the making of Nevermind is a really funny. Yeah, they had to work with like they had to convince Kurt of a lot of stuff on that. Like yeah, they there's lots of stories from that record. But I was actually doing mostly live sound engineering, which is I've done studio stuff too. That's it's both they're both really tough. The studio stuff is just tedious. It's like oh man, it's like editing vocals for I don't know if you ever watch a video of like behind the studio, like an artist release, like you'll probably notice like everybody kind of having fun, like partying or whatever.
In the studio, yeah.
Yeah, and then there'll be just some nerd on a computer just like trying to like keep up with everything they're doing, and just like maniacally like having to like keep like add more tracks and like keep the track going and like edit vocals. And but yeah, live sound engineering is tough because nobody notices you unless you mess up. Like nobody cares. And like I just remember one time in particular, there was I worked at this club in New Orleans called the Howlin' Wolf, and it was
Ben.
oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And so it's like an 1800, it's literally, it was like a horse stable built in the 1800s, maybe even earlier. So it's just this big old rusty warehouse. All the cables are like, if you look at the ceiling, you'll just see just like random cables like tangled, and like, and those are the
This
cables that
isn't Howlin' Wolf. That's not on Frenchman, is it?
no.
I'm thinking of something else then. I'm thinking of a little club on Frenchman. I thought it was called that. Anyway, sorry.
Um, no, it's all good. Uh,
So Howlin' Wolf, it's a so you were a live
live
engineer
sound.
there. Yeah, live
Yeah,
sound engineer there. So what were I totally derailed you, man.
it's okay.
What were some of the difficulties with it?
Oh, I was just gonna give an example of like of a show I was doing. So I was saying like it was like it's this old rusty place. None of the equipment really works reliably, and there was one show where um the singer's mic just stopped working. Like it was, I don't remember if it was a cable or it was the mic, or but that was the problem, was we didn't know exactly where the problem was. And I just remember the moment it stops. That it's an 800 person, or actually no, that Howlin' Wolf's bigger. I'm thinking of a different place. A big room, and you're the sound engineer. You're kind of in the back of the crowd, and the problem starts, and just a whole room of people just like turn around and look at you. Like the music stops, and then a whole room of people just turn around and look at you. It's like a very and then you have to, and then that's when you're doing like technical uh problem solving. It's a
So
really tough job.
so how did they get out of that pickle? Like, did she just move to another mic, or were all the mics dead?
um I I switched out mics and cables until it worked.
So
Yeah.
wild. It feels like it's, an eternity, but it's really like 30 seconds of just delay. You're like, what the fuck? But no, that's awful. It is a thankless job. But so what's some of your I love asking people like what's your music inspiration? What are some of the things that you grew up listening to? What's your music taste?
So the Beatles are the first music I kind of fell in love with, and I mean that was kind of my like initial like because of what my the first music you listen to is usually what your parents are listening to, and that was like classic rock. And my older brother, is also a guitarist, significantly older than me, like 5 years older than me, and so he's like turned me on to a lot of stuff. Um, but yeah, I really liked the Beatles, and I mean like Led Zeppelin and stuff like that. And then kind of later on, like middle school age, I got into like 2000s kind of garage indie rock, like the White Stripes and the Strokes. Um,
Do you like the Black Keys, or is that
uh,
controversial with the White Stripes?
no, no, yeah,
You
yeah, the
know
Black
that
Keys.
you know that beef with Dan Arbach and Jack White, right?
Honestly, it rings a bell, but I forget.
Yeah, so
Um,
basically Jack White was the long and short is like Dan Arbach and company completely stole everything from me. They're both from Ohio, I believe, and like White Stripes, Black Keys, like, so there's this like back and forth, but Jack White is just such a legend. He's so good.
yeah, yeah, they both are. I
Yeah,
mean,
Dan Arbach's amazing. Like I freaking love him.
yeah, and yeah, I don't think Dan Arbuk's ever said anything negative about anyone. But yeah, uh, yeah. So I got into like that kind of stuff in middle school, and I was super like pretentious about it. I was like, oh, the Black Eyed Peas were super popular, and I was like, ugh, like or like Flow Rida. I was like, that's not real music. Ugh.
I agree though, but like, dude, I'm like the same. I'm in the same camp, and I'm glad like you feel this way. Like growing up, and especially I'm. It sounds like I'm a little bit. Well, no, I don't know how old you are. Not that that matters, but like I'm just trying to get a sense of. So in middle school, were you mid 2000s?
No, I'm 28. So I started middle school in like 2008.
Okay, so I graduated in the eighth grade in 2007. So like I was still same like Black Eyed Peas were big, Shakira, Wyclef, like all of that. If you had ringback tones, like but no, that it was so funny growing up, especially in high school. There was this like gatekeeping of music, and like if you were the person that found found that song and it's on your iPod, and like you're in the car driving somewhere and you play it, everyone's afraid to ask, like, dude, what's that song? You know what I mean? There was like this because you don't want to be the person like stealing like their gem, and I think there's something to be said about that in like capturing that music, but then also putting it on display. Like there's like a sense of pride of like what music that you're listening to, what music you've discovered, and then just having like the vinyl on display on a profile. And I think that's what I was referring to earlier about Spotify not really capturing that element of music. There is this like collector mentality and taste that I think should be like a little bit it should be advertised a little bit better than it is. I would love a platform like that that really showcases like my taste, what I've collected, and be able to brag about it to my friends.
Yeah. The example I always have with that is Tame Impala. I was listening to Tame Impala in like 2009, and they became like the biggest rock band in the world about 10 years later. And I was just like I wanted people to know, but
So Tame Impala is awesome because it's one guy. It's Kevin, isn't it? What's his last name?
Kevin Parker,
Kevin
yeah.
Kevin Parker. Yeah, yeah. So like you have him, but then he tours, and it's with Pond, right? Yeah, like I love Tame Impala. I think they're great.
Yeah, that's like it's probably one of the biggest inspirations for me behind how I make my music, because I make a lot of like kind of not similar enough music to that, and it's just I do it just all myself. And that was a big inspiration for me because wanted, I've always liked. I'm a bit of like a selfish. Like every time I'm in bands, I'm a bit kind of I get a little controlling, and
Controlling.
yeah, it's
So do you know? Do you listen to Mac DeMarco at all? I think
same thing.
he fits in that category of just like has the sound in mind, produces it all himself.
Yeah,
You
Prince
know,
did the same thing. Chuck Berry did it as well. Brian Wilson.
have
It's
you
been a thing.
have you heard of the band? Oh, it's for sure been a thing. Have you heard of the band? This is so funny. Goose, the jam band.
Oh, somebody at a Farcaster dinner brought that up last week. Um,
They brought
yeah,
up Goose.
yeah, he's really into. I think his name is like what's his profile? It's like Bry. I think his profile is literally Bry Deadhead or something. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Brydeadhead.eth. He's going to his 100th Grateful or 100th Dead and Co
There we go.
concert.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a name like that, you've definitely heard of Goose. There's a bit of a rivalry between Goose and Fish. Like there's because it's generationally like just different. But they so I went to a Goose show when I was actually in DC, and they do a lot of covers. But you mentioned Prince. This is what made me think of it. They played the song "I Will Die for You." Do you know that song?
No.
You have to look it up when I'll like maybe I'll edit it in
Okay.
into this show, but like it's such a like like corny like goofy song from that time period, and no one knows it. But my brother and I, like my dad would make us watch Purple Rain, the Princess, so like we knew the song from the movie, and we're singing it verbatim like word for word, and so like everyone's kind of in the crowd like, dude, who is this? Like, is this like they're like I forget, like one guy in the crowd, because we're like giggling, like laughing like crazy, like the fact that they played the song. And one of the guys just comes up to us and he's like, is this like, he said someone so random, like, is this Kenny Rogers? Like, dude, this isn't Kenny Rogers. It's Prince, baby. And then like everyone's like, oh my God, like how this is a Prince song. But anyway, no, I love music, man. And it's so cool to hear like, you know, stories of inspiration and like what you're listening to. What are you currently listening to right now?
I've been listening to a lot of like uh I've been listening to a lot of country music lately. A lot of like country and folk music. I go through like pretty intense phases of like listening to particular genres and artists, and I kind of fixate on it for a bit. I think the country music's a bit like because I moved out of like New Orleans. I moved away from New Orleans for the first time like a year ago, and
And where are you now?
I'm in New York.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think I've been like I think I've been kind of like listening to the even though music's not. I mean, New Orleans is more like jazz and blues, but
It's
the
amazing music scene, by the way. For those that
of
don't know,
course.
New Orleans is literally like, I know it has the jazz, but like, man, the live music and the talent that is out of New Orleans is like insane. Every street corner, there's someone, you know.
Yeah, I think I mean I think that's a big reason that I kind of recognize the opportunity with music too, because music, like New Orleans, is not just like the like there's other big music towns like Nashville, and LA and New York as well, but and Atlanta. But the thing is, like those towns, they also have money. Like there's also like a music industry. In New Orleans, there's no music industry. There's just a lot of music, and nobody's making money, except for like the tourism industry. Um, so it's like I think seeing that is kind of a big reason I see like the um the disconnect between the value created in music and what is being captured.
Right. No, for sure. It's really well said. I think there's a lot of talent that's in New Orleans. I don't know the industry all that well, um, to note that it's not making money, but you got to assume like it's the New Yorks and the LAs that are dominating the music industry in terms of monetization. But Yeah, no, I'm curious. Like going back to Tortoise, like when did you decide like I was gonna put this together? How did you decide, you were gonna build it? What was some of the like hurdles that you had like while you were in the development and like idea phase?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, so the my story with like live sound engineering wasn't for me. When I figured that out, that's when I learned to code. So that was um and yeah, so I kind of spent a few years learning to code. I did like some internships, I took some classes, blah blah blah. I eventually tried to start a startup, or I it started. I won a hackathon for this idea called proof of listenership platform, and basically that idea was kind of a Web3 music thing, and it was all about proving what we were talking about earlier, which is like proving I found it first, and kind of like being it was kind of using a lot of the language that I see a lot of other people have started to use today, which is like getting there first and stuff like that. Um, and that didn't work out. I was well, me and my co-founder, we were both very inexperienced, knew nothing about tech. No one in New Orleans knew anything about tech, so we were just getting advice from people who didn't know anything about it. Um, all the investors, there's like tech investors in New Orleans, but they invest exclusively in ideas that have already been proven to be right. So they don't like if you say something new, it's not gonna it's yeah. I could go on a tangent about that for like half an hour, but
I also
uh
don't know how that's lucrative. Like if you're continually like at the later side of a trend and you're not willing to take the risk of like listening to someone like yourself that has a good concept, I don't know. Like
yeah.
that's probably why there's no, anyway. Tourism will always be champion in New Orleans, it sounds like. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe. And tourism and oil. Um so yeah, the proof of listenership platform didn't actually the day we started trying to fundraise was the day FTX collapsed as well. So it was also not the best timing. Um but that didn't work out. But that's actually how I ended up on Farcaster, because I applied to A16Z Crypto Startup School, and they had a field for your Farcaster username. And I was like, let me try to get one of those for my application. And that's how I actually ended up on Farcaster.
Were you one of the infamous people that DM'd Dan?
Yes, I DM'd them, and actually he didn't answer me. And then I told him like, fine, I'm gonna stay on Lens. And then he answered me.
That's so funny.
uh yeah, he probably just didn't see it initially, but uh yeah, so I got really into Farcaster like slowly from that point. And yeah, I it was um yeah, it was really cool, because it was like I remember reading the Farcaster docs, and I was like, oh, this is like, because I had been kind of sold on this idea of Web3, like an internet like you can own, rather than like you control like what you're doing, you control your data, you control your followers, blah blah. And I had been sold on the idea, but like I was still like looking for like someone building the idea. Uh, and then Farcaster was the first time I actually felt like I found that. Um, so yeah, fast forward like a few years, Farcaster releases Frames V2, which is now called Mini Apps, and that um, you can of course play audio in a mini app. And I saw that, and I also, you couldn't at the time, but I assumed probably they're going to let you minimize it and let the audio keep playing, which is the case now. So as soon as that came out, I got really excited about that, because as a musician, it's really hard to share music on social media. I've always been jealous of like visual artists, because they can just share their art and on the internet, and you just see it. Like I if somebody posts like a painting on Instagram, I see it in a split second, and I have consumed their mastery of the craft instantly. Musicians don't get that. If you have a boring intro, you're nobody
Three
cares.
seconds. You have 3 seconds to make an impression, right?
Yeah, so I've always kind of had that frustration. And basically, the only way, if you want to share your music on social media, uh, before Tortoise, you had to make video content. That was the only way. Um, and I always find that very frustrating. So when they released mini apps, I kind of saw this opportunity for an internet, social media, an audio native way to share on social media. So that's why I built it. And the original version I built was called InFeed, and it was literally because I wanted to share my music on Farcaster. And so that was
I
kind of the
remember InFeed. I remember it
oh
being named
cool
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah yeah. So that was the original idea, and then with Tortoise, um, I don't know. Trying to remember what the tourist thing. I just saw all these people starting projects, and I think like Clanker was starting, like Clanker projects were starting to be a thing, and I was like, oh, I could actually, because like, oh, I'm like, I don't have I didn't go to an Ivy League school, I didn't work at a big name corporation, and as much as VCs would like to say otherwise, that basically means that they're not going to listen to you at all. um so I when projects started launching these Clanker tokens
His capital.
to
You
raise
know what?
capital.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of saw an opportunity for that, and I was like, well, if I could make something that's really really cool, I could probably actually get capital raise. And then I just kind of started thinking more about it, and I was like, a token, there's actually really interesting things that could be done with a token around this project as well. um Oh, and also the warplet, which is the the I mean, I don't know how familiar listeners are going to be, but like the in-app wallet and
Farcaster wallet. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, the Farcaster wallet. When that came around, that was like as soon as they announced that, I was kind of went into, I was like, it was like, um I can't remember the term I'm trying to think of, but it was I knew I needed to build this right away, because it was the Farcaster wallet and the Coinbase announced they were building a Farcaster app around the same time, and it was like, um so there was going to be all these users with money on Farcaster. I was like, okay, if I don't put a revenue model into InFeed, I would be really stupid. So, um, yeah, I guess that's kind of a lot of factors, but kind of all those things made me realize I need to build Tortoise.
It's awesome. No, by the way, when did the Farcaster wallet, Farplet, Warplet, whatever people want to call it, when did that come about? Because like I said, I got in April. Was so I don't know what it was really like on Farcaster before April.
So I can, so, um, I'm looking up a cast of mine right now because, well, yeah, so 5 months ago, um, because the cast is loving the Warplet, so it was called the Warpcast wallet.
So the wallet's only been around for 5 months.
Yeah, yeah,
That's crazy. That's crazy. I can't imagine. See, the thing is I can't imagine Farcaster without a
yeah.
wallet. You know
It's
what I
funny.
mean? You guys have endured some stuff. I mean, the OGs, tip of the hat. That's so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I remember it before it had any users whatsoever.
37 people.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I was at the first FarCon, and there was probably about 37 people there. You know, it
Was that in LA?
that was in Boston.
Oh, the first one was in Boston. Then the year after was
It was in LA.
LA.
Yeah, and that one was way different.
And you went, right? You've been to all. Didn't you post the other day that you've been to every single FarCon?
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking I'm gonna need to remind people about that again soon. But yeah,
Hell yeah. No, you should. Just a quick reminder, everybody. I've been here long before you. Yeah, I think. Do you know? Has there been any? I know, like a couple of weeks ago, they were talking about it being in like. Didn't someone say they wanted to
Rome.
do it? Is that official? Like, is it going to happen?
I think it will.
Interesting.
It seems like that's what's going to happen. Yeah,
Interesting. Wow. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's awesome. I think it definitely needs to happen outside of the U.S.
Without a
Uh,
doubt.
yeah. So I mean,
Why not Rome?
yeah. Why not? I've never been. I would love to go. So
It's a very cool city. Obviously a lot of history there, but like underestimated. There's actually a lot to do in Rome. That's like the thing that I kind of like was taken back by is I've spent like a really good for an American boy, like I've spent a pretty good time in Rome. One of my really close friends lives in Trastevere, which is like a really cool part of town. But I mean, just for like, I'm just thinking about it because the first FarCon I went to was this one, and the way that it worked that I thought was so good is like you got to see so many different parts of the city. Um, you know what I mean? And Rome, as there is a lot to do, it's so small. So maybe that's advantageous. Like maybe that's a benefit of doing it there. Is that it's easy to hop around. I just don't know like where they would do events and stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah. TBA.
I don't know what you mean because I've never been there, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
definitely believe you.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it is literally like you could walk that if you really were ambitious, you could walk around the entire city and see everything in a day.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't know that at all.
but yeah, it's it's pretty dense. I mean, like, I mean, it's a beautiful city. It's cool as hell. I'm curious how they would pull it off though. But yeah, yeah, definitely cool. If it's your first time in Rome and it's a FarCon event and that's what's bringing you there, so cool.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I would. I've never been to Southern Europe at all. I would really love to go. Um, yeah,
No, I mean, and there's also so much to do. If you make a trip of it, I mean, it's you can go to a lot of cool cities around too. But yeah. So what's coming up next for Tortoise? Do you have anything that you're currently working on that you can share, or anything that people can be expecting from it? What's been like the top of mind for you right now?
yeah. So, you can expect. I mean, I'm going to continue to make it easier to share. Um, like it's all about social proof. So I'm working a lot of stuff that just makes it easier and easier to share. Like, oh, this is my collection. To share your profile and just to like kind of close the gap between the Farcaster feed and Tortoise as much as possible. So there's lots of stuff with that. There's stuff I'm doing with the token, integrating the token in the app. Because the the idea around the token is that is kind of like a win together mentality and kind of um a way for people to have a chance to have ownership of it if they want and to have a kind of a say and the curation on the platform. So things are coming with that, and then having it work as as a standalone app, and then having it work without a Farcaster profile.
Wow.
Um,
So that's all on the roadmap right now.
yeah, I mean, all that stuff is none of that stuff is particularly difficult. So yeah, that'll I mean that'll all be within the next few months, I think.
That's awesome. No, really exciting stuff, man. Yeah, and then are you on X? Like, is Tortoise on? I don't use. I haven't used X at all, so I wouldn't know. But um, is there any? And what about base app? Like, is there? Because I've been using the beta. It sounds like you have been too. Is there an effort to try and get it on the display of? Because I haven't played around enough of it. Is it already on the base app too?
Yeah, it's on the base app. If you go, I mean, it's the number one. If you go to the music thing, it's number one.
Is it really? That's
Yeah,
awesome, man.
yeah, it's the most popular music app on the Farcaster,
Whatever,
obviously.
casually drop that, yeah. So cool. Wait, let me pull it up. Just for the viewers at home. I don't know if you could see my screen. Can you see my screen?
I can see your screen. Yeah,
Does it say Tortoise right there, number one?
Yeah.
Look at that. Awesome. No, that's so cool, man. I literally just downloaded it like yesterday, so I haven't played around enough, but that's so cool. And then I actually, glad we're bringing base app up. What are your thoughts on, because you're an OG Farcaster guy, what are your thoughts on the base app versus Farcaster? Like, what's the point of using the client of Farcaster now that base is using the social graph? Like, what are your opinions on that, if you don't mind me asking?
I think it's really exciting. Like, I think it's super exciting that we have another. This is the first real alternate Farcast. I mean, I shouldn't say real. This is the first like major, first people with major distribution with a Farcaster app, which is super, um, super. It just kind of is. It's, I wouldn't say it's proving yet, but it's starting to actually prove the decentralized protocol thesis, because it's kind of still yet to be totally proven that Farcaster is really a decentralized protocol that anybody can integrate. And it's starting to actually prove that. And it's very cool because they're also using other protocols along with Farcaster. Like they have XMPP on for messaging. They have Base Chain, and so you're seeing Farcaster as like being included with all these. So it's making Farcaster look like a protocol, which is really really exciting because it's just what we've all been kind of sold on for. It's the reason I was using it when there was nobody on it. So to see it actually being used in that way is really exciting. Uh, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's really interesting. It's been, I mean, seeing the launch event is just is has been fascinating to me, because it's like this big company like shipping something that's like buggy. It's like really buggy, and which is you don't like bugs, but it's kind of cool. And it's kind of like, because they're really taking a risk. They're really putting themselves out there, and they're really kind of, look like Jesse was on TBPN yesterday, and the app like didn't work. And so you're like seeing them really like kind of put themselves out there in that way, which could be bad, it could be good, but it's I don't know. I'm here for it.
No, that's. Thank you for. I didn't mean to put you on the spot if that in any way was, but I think that answers it, because for me, still being relatively new, I look at it and I'm like, okay, what's like drive? I'm thinking about it from like a business standpoint. Is like, if I'm Dan, if I'm V, if I'm a Merkle team, like what's really driving revenue for us, right? Is it the client or is it the protocol? If it's the protocol, then like no sweat off my back. Like I don't care. Like this is just major distribution for us to have another client from one of the most prominent and like biggest companies you can say in the world now. I mean, it's like Coinbase is an S&P 500 company. Like to get distribution from a platform like that is major. But again, it's like for me, I'm kind of thinking in the back of my mind is like, is this going to crush Farcaster? Like, I don't know. Like, that's where I kind of had question marks. But again, like, what is it that people are most excited about? What sold everyone on getting on to Farcaster in the first place? It's the decentralization aspect and like the protocol actually offering that on their social graph. So, no, that definitely clarifies that. Um, so far, like, are you enjoying the base app though? It looks pretty cool. It feels pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, I'm enjoying it. After this call, I'm gonna figure out a bug that's happening with Tortoise uploads on the base app, so that'll be fun. So there's still some quirks in regards to making things work on both. The fact that every cast is a coin is
How do you feel
interesting.
about that? How do you feel about that, honestly? Like, real talk. Because I don't like it. I'll be the first to say it, and I have no shame. Like, Jesse, if you're ever listening to this, like, no shade to you. I just don't fucking like it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the good thing for you is you can just not buy the coins. So
For sure.
that's
Oh, yeah. But, like, here's the thing. Like, I posted through the base app yesterday, like, my first two posts, right?
Mhm.
and I did a clip of like Judge Judy because it was in my like parents' like family room. Like, what the hell are you guys watching right now? And so I'm like, the non-Western mind could never comprehend like what is this? And so I posted it, and then it was like anyone can buy this post, and I'm like, all right, like let's just play with it. Put a title, put the caption, and then I didn't realize that it was going to be put on Zora. Like, that's what happens
It
on the
was on the
back end,
Zora
right?
app?
No, no, no. I did it through the Base app. Is
Yeah,
it
yeah.
just taking like the same principles of Zora and applying it on Base? Or on the back end, is my account actually uploaded and like, do I have a Zora account without even realizing it?
I think they are using like Zora's token launching infrastructure.
Got it. Okay, okay. So like, but here's the thing. I posted it and I looked at my account and I put no money into the Base app yet. Like I just is bare bone. And they gave me a USDC, which was sick. But then um my account showed that I had like 15 bucks. And I'm like, all right, like getting some traction here. Very cool. But like, is that real? And then I look down again and it's like $2. And I'm like, what is like, I just don't understand. Am I just supposed to rug on every single person that may have bought my post? And like, that's how I like extract, like, it just feels weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, yeah, I totally agree. Uh, it's weird.
I'm not trying to talk shit. I'm genuinely just like feedback. Dude, I'm not going to rug. Like, if people are willing to purchase my content, even if it's $5, even if it's $3, like, what's the point of that? If they're, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I did a post, I guess like the day before yesterday that got a little bit of I don't know. It went. I bought $5 and then it went up to like $200, and I sold half of it because I looked at who was trading it, and it wasn't any Farcaster accounts, so I figured it was probably snipers. So I was like, okay, I'll rug the snipers. That's fine.
Okay.
And so
So
that was
there's the justification there. Is like, if anyone asks ever, it's just like, oh, I thought it was snipers.
yeah, yeah. That's right. I guess that's my justification. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's weird. I mean, you also make the move is probably to not buy any of your posts or to sell it, is just to make money off the transaction fees. Uh,
Is that what happens?
yeah,
So
yeah,
are you on the back end making oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome. It's probably insignificant because I didn't recognize it. So it's not like a lot of transactions are happening.
just immediately changed your mind, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's cool to experiment with new things. There's like, there's a few platforms doing song coins too. And it's like, I try it. I try it. Fine.
I had Cooper on earlier, and I actually use Coop Records. I bought a couple of songs on there. And I think that's more so because I like knew the music,
Mhm.
and that's one thing with Tortoise is like, I feel like it's really exciting. I feel like Tortoise is like the early beginnings of SoundCloud, where it's just a lot of people like uploading their stuff. But man, like if you just keep at it and like keep scaling, keep iterating, like keep doing it, like who's to say like a lot of people don't, like end up migrating there? How great would it be to have SoundCloud truly pay you out, like significant, uh, um, cash or whatever tokens? But yeah.
Yeah, and not only would you get paid out, you would have like direct connections with all your fans on a permissionless protocol.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is one thing. Like, I go like music industry events sometimes. I talk to a lot of people in the music industry, and they're all. I mean, first of all, they all hate crypto, but they're all constantly begging for. They're all literally constantly. They're like, we need better ways for artists to get paid. We need better ways to confirm it's not AI artists and it's real people. We need we need more ownership of our, like, they constantly beg for crypto and then they hate crypto.
Yeah, because of the taboo around the word crypto, and I think the best way around it is like, don't say crypto, don't say blockchain, just say these are new like revenue streams and new ways of monetizing your work and building a true audience, an authentic audience. And they go, cool, how's that? And then it's like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, but it gets me so fired up when I hear people say these things. And like maybe the most common advice that gets told to musicians is that you need an email list because platforms can rug you whenever they want. That's like one of the most common, and like every time I hear that, I just get so excited. I'm like, when you guys realize what's happening,
It's gonna happen. It's inevitable. I think there was a congressperson that came out yesterday, and I'm not even gonna act like I know the guy's name, but basically the way that he articulated the Genius Act and all of the bills that just got passed this week, he was just like, "You guys don't understand yet. The internet. This is the internet. This is the new wave. This is the new iteration of the internet, and everyone will be using it. It's inevitable." And so I think for you to just like be at the early stages of it, but also have the understanding of it, continuing to build on it, it's just an inevitable thing. Like you're gonna see a lot of people move into the industry fast because they don't even realize what the industry is. They just think FTX. They think Sam Bankman-Fried's, fro and like him in the Bahamas doing God knows what, or Bermuda, wherever he was. And that's what they're stuck with right now. But people have the attention span of a goldfish. It's only been 3 years since that occurrence, where it's like, yeah, maybe 5 years from now, people will completely like be removed from it. And also I'm pretty confident that you're gonna see price. Money doesn't talk, it screams. Like when Bitcoin and ETH and all of these like major networks are starting and their tokens like popping off, it's going to be like something you just can't avoid anymore. And the music industry especially has a problem with streaming, as you said at the beginning of the show. Like there's just a need to fix the model right now.
money doesn't talk; it screams as a bar. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Did you come up with that?
Of course not. Of course not.
Okay.
No. I wish I could coin that, but like, it's true. Money does not talk; it screams.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I, it's funny because in my mind, I'm not early because I mean, I thought about doing like building a music app on Farcaster is something I've been thinking about I was thinking about it for like 2 years ago. And at that time, I decided it was like, it's not, Farcaster's not big enough, blah, blah, blah. And so I think that's kind of, and then 2 years later, I'm like, damn, I really wish if I had done that and I just kind of stuck with it, like that would have been really good. So that's kind of how I'm thinking towards the future is like every time I start thinking about that, like, oh, it's not big enough or whatever, I just think about a few years ago when it was nothing.
yeah, it's
And
all relative, man. It's
yeah,
like, yeah, people like, oh man, if I knew about Bitcoin at 6,000, like, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Well, I did know about Bitcoin at 6,000, and I sold my Bitcoin, like I sold my ETH when it was like trading in this like, you know, it was at like $10. You know what I mean? It's like, but relative. This is my point. Is like relative to the rest of the world right now. If you look at the metrics of like who has a wallet, just something so basic like that, you go to a normal household in the United States and ask who has a wallet, that number is staggeringly low. Especially, so I just think like you could beat yourself up on being like quote unquote late because you had the idea 2 years ago, but like, no, I mean, there's still like, I still think like with Coinbase making this like announcement and really pushing the base app, Farcaster's catching traction. I do believe, and I think we can both agree, like in terms of SocialFi, I think we're in the like, I think this is kind of the going to be the cemented place where you're going to see, all the traffic and all the people come. I think this is the town hall for Web3. And yeah, I mean, look, dude, you're already the number one music app on mini app on the base app. If you keep that position and keep building it, like inevitably those Coinbase users are going to be coming along, and they're going to ask the question, like, how many people like music? I think it's a lot. I think it's a lot of people. So it's just, yeah, I think you're still very early.
yeah, I appreciate that. And I agree.
Yeah. Well, awesome. I think that's a good way to wrap up on a high note. But Matt, I really appreciate you doing this on a Friday. Next time I'm in New York, which will be very soon, hopefully we can catch up. And yeah, whenever you want to come on the show, if you have anything new, if you're trying to, get the word out to the 37 people that listen to my show, I'd love to have you back on.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to do that. And yeah, it's been really fun. Thanks.
You're the best, man. And I appreciate it. You're the OG's startup radar contributor. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, likewise.
Awesome, man. Well, take care. Have a great weekend.
You too.